Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, September 3rd. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 95 and a chance of thunderstorms in San Antonio today. Birria Tacos are enjoying their shiny, happy moment in San Antonio. Keep an eye out on our Taste Team's page for a list of 5 places to get good beef and consommé. Until late August, few owners of commercial properties resorted to lawsuits to make tenants pay back rent. But their patience may be wearing thin as the pandemic and the recession it unleashed drags on. We'll have a story with more details at expressnews.com. For now, let's move on to the top headlines for the day. Since August 24th, developers have filed plans with the state to build 2 distribution facilities in San Antonio, including a $30.5 million delivery station at I-35 and Fisher Road on the south side. But nobody's saying who will operate them. Economic development and city hall officials plead ignorance, and the builders aren't commenting. It's a mystery, and all good mysteries come with clues. Madison Eisler examines those clues and explains why you could make a case that the signs point to a certain e-commerce giant. In front of the Bexar County Courthouse on Wednesday, Matthias Ometu, who previously did not have a criminal record, described the harrowing experience in detail, at times pausing to compose himself. He talked about the humiliation of being strip-searched at the jail and the fear he felt being trapped behind metal bars. Once those doors closed, I thought they would never open, Ometu said. I am thankful to be considered a free man again. You can read more from his first public comments at the link in the episode's description. We also talked to 3 law enforcement experts who offered general opinions on how police might have better handled the situation, although none viewed the body cam videos of the incident. Find out what they said police could have done instead at the link in the episode's description. Countless family members in San Antonio have loved ones in long-term care who have essentially lived in lockdown since the coronavirus pandemic landed here in March. Recognizing that the elderly people in congregate settings would be among the most vulnerable to infection, the state clamped down on outside visitors. As coronavirus infections have subsided, that restriction recently was relaxed a bit. The Texas Health and Human Services Commission said assisted living centers and nursing homes could resume some visits as long as facilities agreed to abide by a host of safety protocols. That news couldn't come soon enough for Sandy Salone and other family members who've been worried that the extended isolation could harm their relatives in long-term care. Melissa Fletcher Stolce shares her story and others at the link in the episode's description. Early in the film, as Adan Medrano walks along a busy pre-COVID-19 riverwalk, he makes a distinction between the film's focus and anything known as Tex-Mex. That's food made by Anglos for Anglos, he says. At a time when the country has divided itself over race and racial injustice, the film's outlook on history may make some people on the right uncomfortable. They're supposed to, writes columnist Elena Ayala. Read more about the first film produced by the Indigenous Food Project and why Ayala calls it a bigger story of cultural resiliency. To keep our readers up to date on the path of COVID-19, the Express News has built a dashboard of interactive graphics showing the spread of the virus in the San Antonio area, in Texas as a whole, and across the United States. We've also created an interactive map of San Antonio for COVID-19 testing sites that don't require a doctor's referral. You can find a link to the dashboard and the interactive map in this episode's description. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside your Express News subscription. Bexar County saw new cases of COVID-19 inch upward on Wednesday, although hospitalizations continue to fall. The San Antonio Metropolitan Health District reported 250 new cases and 13 deaths. President Donald Trump shared 2 tweets claiming U.S. coronavirus deaths have been vastly overstated. But is it true? We have a fact check for you at the link in the episode's description. A Texas woman who was not wearing a mask inside H-E-B has gone viral after she filmed herself having a meltdown due to the grocery store refusing service to her. It is policy at the San Antonio-based grocery chain that all shoppers wear a face covering. The Tenko Ramen team will breathe new life into the former home of the Granary Q and Brew at the Pearl, with Best Quality Daughter scheduled to open in November. Mail-in ballot applications will be sent by mid-September to more than 150,000 Bexar County voters aged 65 or over as part of a plan supported by county commissioners to prepare for a high-volume election. Our editor's picks for the 10 books that should be on your reading list for September can be found at the link in this episode's description. Eviction court judges, landlords, and housing advocates in San Antonio are scrambling to understand how a new federal eviction moratorium will be rolled out and what it will mean for landlords who could miss out on months of foregone rent payments. Bexar County Commissioner Tommy Calvert said he'll soon request that the county set aside $2 million from its share of federal coronavirus relief fund dollars to pay for COVID-19 testing for uninsured residents in the event of a second wave of coronavirus. The Susan G. Komen Foundation San Antonio office will close as part of the breast cancer nonprofit's major restructuring, a move that eliminates more than 60 affiliate groups across the country and consolidates operations under a single corporation. The hotel industry has been devastated by the coronavirus pandemic as conventions have been canceled and travelers scrap vacation plans. Hotel chains across Texas have let go of thousands of employees. Peggy O'Hare has the story of Marriott workers worried about the future. The Express News editorial board writes, quote, "Heading into Labor Day, the worst thing we can do is emulate the Memorial Day and 4th of July revelers who endangered themselves, family, and strangers by gathering and not masking or practicing social distancing." Over 700 small businesses and nonprofits impacted by COVID-19 will receive $27.4 million in grants from the city by September 30th, according to the Economic Development Department on Wednesday. One of paleontologist Thomas Adams' favorite things about working at the Whitty Museum is spending time with those who share his lifelong fondness for dinosaurs, an age group, he likes to say, that goes from 3 to 93. Kids are the most vocal, and you can really see it in their faces that they love it, he says. I also love watching parents, especially fathers with their kids, talking about dinosaurs and the fossils and making that connection because that reminds me of my dad. Adams made time to talk about the Whitty's paleontology program, where he wants it to go and what he loves about his job. You can find the Q&A in this episode's description. The former manager at Jason Dady's range turned to the Barefoot Contessa for comfort during COVID-19. He shared with us some of his favorites among the 42 recipes he made during the pandemic. Express News staff writer David Hinojosa sets up the San Antonio area's high school football weekend at the link in this episode's description. The Roadrunners' time to prepare for the season under a first-year coaching staff condensed by the coronavirus pandemic, UTSA is squeezing every bit of practice it can out of a delayed start. Northeast ISD's enchilada recipe made it to a school in Sweden, and there wasn't a single portion left. You can find the heartwarming story at the link in this episode's description. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful day, everyone.